Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Coach D. Welcome to Real Talk Tuesday, where we like to keep it real, man. No fluff, none of that sugarcoating. Like, we just gonna tell you like a TI is, as we used to say back in the day. But no, man, seriously. So today I want to talk about something that I think is super important. And if you haven't been paying attention, people are talking about it more and more, and that's mental health. But let me go deeper than mental health. Some of y'all are wounded and you don't even know it. And so today I want to talk about the subject of don't let it get infected. I'm just gonna close the book on that one. Like, don't let it get infected. I remember, I told you guys this before, that there was a time where I lost my dad. I was 14 years old. When I had lost him, something happened that night. We didn't just lose our pops. We didn't just lose Superman. What happened was we began to feel lost. If I can keep it all the way 100, like I really felt lost. I know oftentimes I talk about, man, I did it for my little brother Quincy. When I saw him looking over my shoulders as I'm down on my knees, some of y'all haven't heard the story before, but I'm down on my knees. My dad is like, he just took his last breath, right? Like he was killed and he died in my arms. And as I got ready to roll Quincy over, I was already thinking, I'm about to retaliate. Why? Because hurt people hurt people. And so as I got ready to hurt the woman that killed my dad, which wasn't my mom, it was his girlfriend. What happened was, for some odd reason, man, I looked over my left shoulder and I saw my little brother Quincy standing right there. And in that moment, I made a decision that was not just going to make me feel good temporarily, but a decision that was going to impact my brother as well, right? In a good way. And so I decided not to retaliate that night. But even with me making the right move, I still felt like I was lost. I need y'all to hear this. I still felt like, man, I don't know what's going on. Some of y'all feeling like that right now. And maybe you didn't lose a loved one, but you feeling like that right now. Just maybe you and your girl just broke up. Yep. You and your girl just broke up and you thought, man, this is gonna be my forever girl. Like I plan on settling down. She gonna have my babies. You know what I mean? We gonna have this nice, beautiful life, like whatever. And she broke up with you. Some of y'all got some news, right? That your parents just had a divorce, or that somebody's sick in your family to the point where they got stage 4 cancer. I get it. Some of you just got cut from the team last season. You're like, man, forget, I'm done with sports. I don't care, man. Coaches don't care. I don't care. I'm talking to you. Don't let that wound get infected. I'm going to say it one more time. Don't let that wound get infected. So that night, what happens when I had lost my pops, I told you, now I'm feeling lost once I had left that situation. And for a long time, man, I wasn't really getting the help that I needed. Yeah, my grandparents, my daddy's parents, they took me to counseling. They took my brother to counseling. But I promise you, man, I wasn't trying to talk to them. And there's no disrespect. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm just letting you know where my mind was back then. They had us talking to these young, like, look like they fresh out of college, white ladies. And I was like, bruh, I ain't trying to talk to no white lady like that. Like, and I'm not being racist. I'm saying that's how I was thinking as a young man. I was thinking like, man, I ain't trying to talk to them. Like they can miss me with all that. And all I'm saying is this: I didn't have this outlet. I didn't have this way to heal. I didn't have the proper treatment for the wounds that I had just suffered from losing my pops. And so today I want to talk about don't let it get infected. Don't let it get infected, man. Some of y'all walking around, you got gaping holes, right? You got wide open wounds and you ain't even slapped the Band-Aid on it. You ain't even try to cover it. You ain't try to wrap that joke up. Nothing. You just wounded and you bleeding all over the place, bleeding on people. You getting an attitude, you snapping at everybody. You can't trust nobody. You cussing this person out. You throwing a fit over here, like you. The minute somebody gets on your nerves, you walk out, you leave, even if it means in the middle of practice or the middle of a game. You're like, man, forget it, I'm done. I don't care. When really on the inside, you do care. And so today, again, I want to talk about it. Some of y'all, you're wounded. in the wound, trust me, you probably didn't even cause the wound. It probably wasn't even your fault that you got wounded, but you're wounded nonetheless. Whether it's your fault or whether it's somebody else's fault, you still got a responsibility, and that responsibility is to get the proper treatment. And so today I want to talk about just some of the things that we can do to help us get treated. But before I do that, I want to share this with you, because some of y'all like, man, I ain't wounded. You got me mixed up, Coach D. Like that ain't me. Like, I'm not wounded. Let me show you somebody that was actually wounded, right? I'm gonna show you somebody that was wounded. So this right here, some of y'all may have heard of, especially if you're in Texas like I am. There's a young man, 17-year-old at the time. He's actually a track athlete in high school up in North Texas. It says a Texas teenager has been charged with murder with the fatal stabbing of a 17-year-old at a high school track meet. So he got charged with murder because he stabbed another track athlete at a track meet. It says Carmelo Anthony, with a K, Carmelo Anthony, 17, was charged with first-degree murder over the death of Austin Metcalf. Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis announced on Tuesday. The horrific incident occurred on April 2nd of this year, 2025, during the sporting event at Memorial High School in Frisco, about 30 miles north of Dallas. Prior to the altercation, Metcalf had reportedly asked Anthony to leave the event as he did not attend that high school. So when they say event, what they're really saying is, if you ever been to a track meet and you look up in the bleachers, you'll see like these canopies, and you got the teams separated, by canopies, if you will. Each one of them are sitting under theirs. Well, what he was doing, he was sitting under the canopy of a different team. And so the kid that got stabbed, the young man that got stabbed, was like, hey man, can you like just leave? Like, this ain't your area. Like, you just leave. Well, Carmelo, he was like, man, bump that, bro. Like, I ain't going nowhere. Like, it's hot. I'm just trying to get some shade. I ain't going nowhere. And the guy insisted, no, like, you need to leave. Metcalf insisted. And so it says Metcalf was found suffering from a stab wound. When police arrived, he was taken to a local hospital for treatment, but was later pronounced dead. In a statement, Willis acknowledged that the death of Metcalf had struck a deep nerve in the community and beyond. That's understandable. When something like this happens at a school event, it shakes people to the core, he said. But the justice system works best when it moves with steadiness and with principle. All right, so I'm gonna pause on that. But what I want you to understand is that here, you have a young man by the name of Carmelo Anthony who ends up fatally stabbing somebody. Why? Because he was wounded. That's all I'm saying. He was wounded, and his wounds hadn't been healed. And so now when somebody pushed the button, like, hey man, you need to keep on going. Now, I done been through that before. Like you're not gonna tell me what to do. And maybe part of that trauma wound came from him not feeling like he's in control. And so in that moment, he's like, no, I'm gonna be in control in this moment. Ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. And so he acts out in the way of stabbing this young man. Now I'm sure I haven't interviewed the young man that's the perpetrator here, the suspect. But I can only imagine that he had some regrets after finding out this young man died as a result of his actions. I'm sure he had some type of regret. And some of us, what we do in the moment, we just act off of that feeling that we may have, that hurt feeling. And again, what do hurt people do? Hurt people, right? And not always intentionally, but a lot of times it is intentional, but not always. Nonetheless, this young man ended up passing away, and now the one that stabbed the other kid, Carmelo Anthony, he's now facing time in prison for however long. I don't even know how long it is. I didn't figure out all that, but I want to say this. Some of you need to stop. I'm just gonna slow it down, man. Some of you just need to stop. Like you allow one thing to go one thing to lead to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, to the point where it's just out of control now. At first, it may be you just talking under your breath, man, you can miss me all that, bro. And then they like, hey, what'd you say? I said, you can miss me with all that, bro. And then when you start trying to make a scene, or you trying to prove your point in front of everybody, now you ready to take it, push the envelope a little bit further. And now instead of saying, man, I said back up, bro, you start trying to cuss out your coach. You cussing out your principal. You cussing out your parents, right? And I'm saying, listen, all we got to do is just stop. We just got to stop. The reason why we keep going a lot of time is pride, man. I don't want to appear to be like a punk. I don't want to appear to be weak. I don't want to appear to be a pushover, like somebody can just do me any kind of way. And I'm telling you, just stop. That's it. Just stop. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing this though, but I want you to really focus in on the wounds, right? So there's certain wounds that we have experienced, and a lot of times it's not us that gave us those wounds. It's not us that caused those wounds to be for us to experience those trauma wounds, but it's still our responsibility to get healed. Some people, man, and I've seen it, y'all. Dang, like I've been working with young men who they call troubled, right? At risk, high risk, whatever you want to call it, man, for 25 years, believe it or not, 25 years, man. I've been working with them. I know, look at though, right? I got a little bit of gray, but no, anyway, about 25 years. And what I discovered though is that when you're wounded, a lot of times you can be wounded, but you don't want to make it a big deal. Like you don't want people to make a big deal out of it. Case in point, you're on the football field, and I don't know, just say you get a concussion. Chances are, if you can at least snap back temporarily, you're going to jump up, kind of shake it off. I'm like, you good? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, coach. Like, put me back in. You're going to do one of those numbers. Why? Because you don't want to appear to be weak. You don't want to appear to be in a position where people can't respect you anymore, right? And I say that to say this. When it's time to heal, you can't let ego, you can't let pride get in your way from getting healed. Like you can't be on that, well, I don't want people seeing me as being weak. You're not being weak when you're seeking healing. That's not a sign of weakness when you're seeking healing. The sign of weakness is when you say, you know what, no, I'm good. That's weakness. Because in your mind, you know something ain't good, something not right, and yet you're lying about it. That's weakness when you can't own the truth, when you can't own up to the truth. That's weakness. When you pretending when you're pretending, that's weakness. When you can't be real, when you can't be authentic, that's weakness. And so I want for you to shift the way you look at it now. And now I want you to think about this. If I don't get healed, if I don't admit that I am in a bad situation, I need help, then I'm going to end up hurting people that I care about the most. Who we didn't talk about for Carmelo Anthony were his parents. Who we didn't talk about were his teammates. Who we didn't talk about were his siblings, or maybe his girl that he was dating. Like we didn't talk about those people that he had left and they hurting. They trying to pick up the pieces. We didn't talk about those. But again, hurt people hurt people. And all the time, it's not always where you directly are hurting somebody. Sometimes you are indirectly hurting somebody. Your decisions impacted somebody. I told you that night when I lost my dad, I looked over my shoulder and I saw my little brother Quincy. And that night I was thinking about already retaliating. But in my mind, I said, you know what? If I retaliate, in my mind, I said, if I retaliate, what's going to happen to Quincy? That was my thought. Before I rolled my daddy off my lap, I was like, man, what's going to happen to Quincy? I said, is it possible that I could end up losing my life after my dad just lost his? So now in that night, Quincy would have lost the two most important people in his life. What's going to happen to Quincy? Like, how does he bounce back from that if our daddy isn't there and his big brother DJ isn't there? How does he bounce back? And because I began to consider somebody else, I said, all right, no, you know what? I can't make this move. I'm not going to inflict any more trauma on my little brother. I didn't call it trauma back then. I wasn't even thinking of I don't even know if I really understood the word trauma back then, honestly. But I knew it was bad. Had I did what I wanted to do, what I was feeling like doing, what I was in the mood to do, it would have been ugly for me and Quincy, for real. So I just want you to do this, man, as we move forward. And I'm gonna keep this like, I want to keep it brief, but I don't want to like cut this thing prematurely, right? Like I want to make sure I drive this particular point home. But in order to get healed, in order to bounce back, to recover from your trauma wounds, whether you cause them or whether somebody else caused them in your life, you got to first be willing to admit that you have been wounded. Just the other day, man, I'm playing basketball with my kids, man. I'm saying kids like 15-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 22-year-old, right? Kids. I'm playing basketball with them. And they athletic, man. And I'm out there, I'm kind of huffing and puffing. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie. I'm huffing and puffing a little bit, but that's not even the point. The point is when I'm out there playing basketball, I went to go grab a ball or like grab the ball from one of my kids, and their fingernail drove into my hand, right? And it like ripped open the skin and it started to bleed like pretty good. And I could have easily like tried to play it off like, man, I'm good. Like I'm all right. The truth of the matter, I had been wounded or injured in that moment. That's the truth of the matter. And so I told them, I said, hey, y'all know what, man? I just got cut, right? Like, and I'm bleeding right now. I need to go get some help. And so I went to go grab, some Band-Aids and whatnot to wrap it up. But I had to identify that wound. I had to be able to admit that I was hurt, that I was wounded. And some of y'all got to just let go of your ego. That's it, man. The reason why you stuck right now, the reason why you keep blowing up the way you blowing up, the reason why you keep quitting so easily, you're so easily offended, you're so easily ticked off, and you constantly ready to throw hands, it's because you haven't healed yet, man. And the reason why you haven't healed is because you got an ego problem. You're really thinking that you're good all by yourself, when truth of the matter, you need somebody. And so the first thing I want you to do is be in a place where you're willing to admit that you have been wounded and that you need help. The second thing I want you to think about is, can you name that wound? Like some of us, we can't even name it. Somebody come up to us like, what's wrong with you, man? I'm mad, man. Coach pissed me off. When it really wasn't coach that pissed you off. There was already some issues that you were dealing with. And it's just your coach happened to be the person that said something at that right time that had triggered you to go off. But if you really begin to peel back the layers and you go all the way down to the core problem, you'll realize, man, the reason why I responded like that is because I wasn't healed from the trauma that my mama or my daddy had caused me when I was younger. And my mama and daddy used to yell at me all the time. They made me feel like this small. And I got to a point, man, where I despised that. I hated it. Some of y'all, I need for you to really get to the place where you can name that trauma wound. For some, man, like the trauma that you experienced was the fact that nobody was there. Mama, daddy, grandparents, whoever, like they are constantly working. I mean, constantly working. From the time you got up to go to school, you had to get you, your little brother, little sister dressed and ready for school. Make sure they got on the bus and they were good. And then you had to walk to school in time for you not to be late. And then once it was all said and done, you had to make sure that you were there at the house in time to get your brother and sister for when they got off the bus stop. And you had to make sure they had dinner, make sure they end up getting into bed on time, right? Make sure they brushed their teeth and they bathed and all this kind of stuff. You being a parent as a teenager. And so some of your wounds came from abandonment. I was neglected. I remember a time, man, when my pops used to come. I used to be at my grandmother's house, me and my little brother Quincy, after school, and at my grandmother and papa's house, and we just waiting there, watching cartoons. We probably do a little homework, play around, whatever. Waiting until our daddy got home, and my daddy finally got home or got to his parents' house, my grandparents' house, and the minute he walked through the door, man, I lit up. First of all, I can hear the car pulling up in the driveway. I said, "There go my daddy," right? And as soon as he had got to the door and got ready to come in, man, I was up, ready. I ran to him. I got ready to hug him. And my daddy hit me with that. He hit me with that Heisman. He hit me with the Heisman, man, like a mean stiff arm. All I want to do is just hug him and tell him I love him. And I said, "Daddy, I love you." My dad's like, "Oh, okay." Right? Like, boy, get away. Like, okay. Right? I rarely ever heard him say, "I love you." Matter of fact, I think the only time I can recall him saying "I love you" is probably a year and a half, or so before he had passed away. And that was like 7th grade, 8th grade year, right? But regardless, my point is there was some neglect. And some of y'all have been neglected, man. You're not getting the love, you're not getting the validation, you're not getting the support that you need. And that has caused these wounds, right? It's caused you to experience these trauma wounds. So maybe it is abandonment. Maybe it is neglect. Maybe it is you being abused verbally. You being belittled or put down, ridiculed. Somebody always jumping your case, man. They always saying you're not doing stuff. You're not doing stuff good enough. Always criticizing, always judging you. Those wounds, I get it. Some of y'all just being violated, period. Right? And there's some wounds there, man. Like that's the last time I'm gonna be nice. Because every time I'm being nice, somebody always take advantage of my kindness, man. Like, no. And you want to prove a point that you're not going to be messed over again. But what happens is while you're trying to prove that point and you letting your ego go wild, you're keeping yourself from getting the healing that you need. And I'm saying for real, let's get to a place where we're willing to name or to admit that we're wounded, that we're hurting. And then let's get to a place where we're able to name that wound. Where did it come from? Isn't it funny how we're quick to say, man, I'm happy. That's the emotion that we're quick to admit. I'm happy, man. I feel good. I'm lit, like whatever the term is. Isn't it funny how we'll also admit that, man, I'm angry, like I'm pissed. But rarely do young men and men admit that, you know what, I'm scared. Now, like I'm really sad right now, man. Like I'm hurting. Rarely do we admit those things. Why? Because it makes us feel like we're weak. We think that we come off as being weak when we share those type of emotions. And the way society has taught us, man, like, listen, you ain't no man if you talking like that. You ain't no man if you scared or if you sad and you over here crying and you ain't no man. And that's a lie, man. That's a straight up lie. We got to be in a place where we're willing to admit that we're hurting and be able to name that thing. Once we can name it, now we can get the help that we need. Hey, coach, like for real, like ain't no disrespect to you. I know I blew up and I'm sorry for blowing up on you. I know I took off, during practice. That's my bad, coach. Like, and if you want to bench me, you want me to do suicides, you want me to do M&Ms, like whatever it is that you want me to do. Listen, I'll do it. I'll do it because I was in the wrong. But I'm just asking you, will you help me? Because the reason why I acted that way is when you said that, it took me back to the times when my mama and my daddy used to put me down all the time. And it made me feel real small. And so when you started yelling like that, it just triggered that, man. I know I need some help. You see how that flows now? You see how now you starting to let that person that really cares about you into your world? And now they're like, all right, bet. So now I understand why Ricky was acting the way he was acting. I get it. Because at first I was confused. I was just thinking he was just being a knucklehead. He was being defiant. He was just being rebellious. I just thought he was just tripping like that. And I was going like let all the way or go all the way off on him. The point is, when we can begin to name what that trauma is, now we in a space where people can understand where we're coming from. And once they can understand where we're coming from, they can help us get to where we're trying to go, which is to that place of healing. You hear what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man, it's way deeper than we make it out to be. But this is what we need to do. We got to go deep on these subjects, or else, as a young man, as a young king, you're not going to be able to lead the people the way you're supposed to lead them. You're not going to be able to help build that winning culture for your program like you want to. You're not going to be able to put your family on the map like you want to. You're not going to be able to leave a legacy, the kind of legacy that you want to leave behind, unless we get to that place where we're healed, man. We can't. So I want you to get healed for real. I want you to get healed. The other thing I want you to do is this. It's another thing that you can do, man. Because sometimes they say an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Sometimes one of the best things you can do is begin to speak to yourself. You speak to yourself. Or one thing I love to do, man, I love to get in here and I just start writing, man. I'm just writing, right? For me, I find writing to be therapeutic. Some of y'all make music, I make beats, and that's therapeutic, man. Whatever it is going to be like therapy to you, I'm asking you to do it. One of the biggest things that I found is that trauma really can live in the body. It really can. And the problem about the trauma is that once it gets in the body, it shows up as aches, it shows up as pain, it shows up as there being like what's the word I'm looking for? Like you're more injury prone, right? Because of the trauma that's in your body. You get knots, right? You get tension, in certain places. Why? Because that's the trauma that's being built up. And so what's my point? If we got trauma being built up in the body, it can also be built up psychologically in us, right? We got to find a place to be able to release, like a safe place to really release. And that's why, again, if you get to the place where you just open up to coach and say, hey, man, coach, this was really going on. Hey, mama, this was really going on. Daddy, this was really going on. Hey, girlfriend, like this was going on. When you can get to that place where you can open up, man, the healing can begin. And once that healing begins, what you're doing, you're now allowing that trauma to be released from you. And maybe you're not in the space, like I was saying, maybe not in a space where you can open up to your coach, but at least you can start getting it out through writing. You can get it out through your music, right? You can get it out through your words that you speak. And another thing is, as we begin to release that, we got to start putting in the good stuff, right? And those are words. So I'm going to take us to our affirmation today, man, before we get up out of here. But I want you to hear what I'm saying. This the affirmation for today. And when you say it, I want you to say it like you mean it, all right? Here it is. Repeat after me. I am a warrior. I am not a victim. So to the temptation to tap out, I won't succumb. Day after day, it's a fight, but it won't be my demise. Battle tested and verified. Not even my haters can deny. Like, say it with me, man, for real. The heart of a champion is what I possess. Miss me with the you can't make it, because in my heart, I've already passed the test. Yep. I want you to take that, man. I want you to replay this part over and over and over again, man. Like, really get it down in you, young king. You are a winner, man. I told you, you are a winner. But winning is a choice. Whatever you do, you cannot quit, man. Don't quit getting healed from that trauma, because you got a whole world that's counting on you. This is Real Talk Tuesday, man. Listen. Share this for sure with another young king, with a teammate, with a brother that needs to hear this message about wounds, about trauma wounds, and the fact that you can't let that get infected. Share it, man. The other thing I want you to do is to like this video, especially if you found value, man. Like this video and even drop a comment, man. If you found value, I want to hear like what are your like what did you resonate with the most? Like what really impacted you about what you heard in this Real Talk Tuesday? And the last thing I want you to do is make sure you hit that notification. That way you can know when our next Real Talk Tuesday is happening, and you can be right here in the mix, man. I love to hear if y'all have any questions. Y'all got certain content that y'all want us to be able to speak on. You want us to be able to share. By all means, man. Like break it down in the comment section. Like let us know what you're looking for. I would love to be able to hear it. If you're in a place right now, you're like, hey, Coach D, for real, I'm looking for somebody to help me to heal from my trauma wounds. This is the opportunity, man, that I'm giving you. The only thing I want you to put in there is heal. H-E-A-L. Just drop that in the comments. If you want for me to be able to help you on this healing journey as you get through those trauma wounds, I just want you to type in the word H-E-A-L, heal. That's it. And I'm going to know exactly what you're talking about. I'm going to make sure I reply and we're going to connect, all right? For real, for real. And if you feel even better about going on to maybe Instagram, go over to X, man, go over to TikTok or wherever, and you want to just drop me a DM, like do that, man, where you can really explain. I'm cool with that too. But reach out to me, man. I'm here. For real, for real. That's real talk, man. Other than that, guys, I'm gonna catch y'all next week. I told you, you are a winner, but winning's a choice. So whatever you do, do not quit. This Coach D. I'm out.